Oh man, if you are a SoFi shareholder, a long-term investor, you may not like this video. If you are a long-term investor at PayPal, you may like this video. Happy Saturday. Hopefully everyone is having a great and tremendous start to the weekend. Hopefully this weekend doesn't bring too much hippity-jibbities in the market. So this video is going to be a fun little hypothetical scenario, basically revolving around hypothetically if SoFi were to be bought out by a entity, what would that look like? Who would it be potentially? A lot of stuff up on the screen. And then I'm also going to be talking about PayPal potentially being bought out, the same exact thing, because there have been some rumors for PayPal actually, or I should say PayPal. There have been a lot of rumors about PayPal potentially being acquired, and it's caused the stock to move a little bit higher from where it's fallen off here. So I kind of really want to go over this stuff here. Near the end of the video, I did buy some more stock last night, so I want to cover that. And I also do want to cover a public profile challenge that I'm doing on this YouTube channel as well too. And where do I see the market going? Because there's so many people now that are screaming. And by the way, if you are watching this video maybe 1 week, maybe 2 weeks, maybe a month from now, hey, the market could very much be different than where it's at right now. For all we know, maybe SoFi and PayPal is in, SoFi is back at 10, 15 bucks. PayPal is at $30 because the market has completely crashed. Or maybe in a couple weeks, maybe month, if you see this video, maybe we have recovered and we are going higher, baby. Woo! So go ahead, grab some coffee, some tea. I'm drinking some peppermint tea, so peppermint tea cheers. Hold on. I keep things very real here, so if you enjoy my content, please smash the like button and subscribe for more. And I primarily cover SoFi because I'm a raging SoFi bull in my own life and also on this YouTube channel. Even though this YouTube channel is not supposed to all be about SoFi, but I'm tending to get like a lot more views really just talking about the number one company in my private profile, very large position in my public profile, and it's a company that I will continuing to be buying, as long as it's down really in these levels. It's really bonus shares. But let me go ahead and start about the hypothetical situation here. So I have a lot of stuff here on the screen. I get a lot of my information from obviously just self-research and cross-checking a lot of different websites. I prefer Google Gemini rather than ChatGPT. I know some of you all prefer ChatGPT, and I did talk to some of you all in the comment section below. Hey, AI is AI, right? It's all about how you use AI. AI is my simplest way to really put it. Jesse Pinkman terms, Breaking Bad, for those of you that know what I'm talking about. AI is my biatch. Oh, yes. I tell it what to do, gather information, and that's the way AI primarily is designed to be used. A lot of people really don't understand how to properly use AI. It's to help you as a tool of gathering information. And from that information, I then look at all the data in front of me, and you can then see if you're missing something. There are people, unfortunately, that is letting AI control their life in the sense of making decisions for them. That's not how AI is supposed to be done here. But I essentially just asked Google Gemini to give me some public information regarding around SoFi and also PayPal. Okay, so the first thing that I want to go ahead and highlight here, let's go ahead and talk about PayPal first. SoFi is going to be a little more lengthy here. PayPal, so going into PayPal, basically pretty much the number one competitor right now in the fintech industry that PayPal is in, primarily, honestly, is like Apple Wallet. Okay? So, and PayPal hasn't even stated this in their earnings that, hey, they're losing market share to essentially like Apple Wallet. I'm an iPhone user. I have brand loyalty. My first cell phone that I ever paid for by myself was the original iPhone back in 2007. I was 19. Yeah, I was 19 years old. Bought my first cell phone. I'm 37 now. Born in '88. My parents had me bought me flip phones as a teenager. I actually remember my first golden flip phone. Oh man, I thought I was the coolest badass teenager, right? We got elementary school students walking around with iPads. So definitely not. Times have changed. So Apple definitely is eating away their market share, but do I believe personally that hypothetically Apple would look to really acquire PayPal? Well, PayPal has really gone from the last, I want to say 6 months of around the 80 billion market cap range. They're at 40 billion of a market cap. You got a company like Apple. They have a boatload of cash. They could more than likely just pay 40. Obviously, if a buyout were to happen with PayPal, you would get a premium. Okay. On my PayPal position on my public account, I'm down 22%. I'll show my public account here momentarily. But I mean, you would be getting a premium. What would that premium basically pretty much look like? Well, I honestly truly believe that it would be very much more higher than what Gemini is basically pretty much predicting here. Gemini is basically pretty much predicting that, hey, it could very much be 58 billion. I think it's probably going to be maybe closer to the 70 billion mark, maybe even a little higher. So 58 billion, that would be around like $58 of a share price. Obviously, more upside to where it's at right now. The share price is 40. What are we at for share price? $44.90. Obviously, better than where it's at right now. Okay. And obviously, once again, this is AI, so you got to take this with a grain of salt. The reason I feel that it would be a lot higher than 58 billion is because of just the cash flow. I mean, you already have a profitable company. PayPal grew year over year 4%. It's a profitable company. And you got to remember is that when a company gets acquired, they lay off a lot of the staff they are acquiring. So they're going to fire they're going to lay off, I should say, fancy way, a lot of, obviously, the executive, the leadership, the big dogs making a lot of money, taking away a lot of EPS because you fire a bunch of employees, EPS is going to go up. They're going to have more revenue. So right then and there, you got to factor in that, hey, for an outside company, they're going to be looking at it and they're going to be saying, well, the company grew 4%. We're going to lay off a lot of employees. Obviously, the company may be able to push to maybe 6 or 7% here of actual revenue growth because of laying off more people. You got Venmo, which for a while, I actually didn't even know up until a couple years ago that PayPal actually acquired Venmo. I use Venmo, honestly, more than PayPal. I'm a small business owner. I use PayPal all the time. I've been using PayPal since I was a friggin' teenager. Hold on. I have a PayPal business account. It's so many people use PayPal. Now, obviously, Apple eating away at PayPal's market share has caused a hard little sell-off in the overall stock price. And it's also affecting the company at all. Do I personally believe that Apple would be a buyer, though? I honestly really don't see Apple buying PayPal. I see Apple crushing PayPal in the long run. And you got to remember that Apple is a very, very big company. They could, like when you are a multi-trillion-dollar company, a $40 billion market cap company, you're going to look at it and be like, okay, kid, what's up here? it's like a 12th grader talking down to a 1st grader, or maybe even younger, okay? It's very little. Now, the article that was emerging is about Stripe, another company that I am familiar with, and I do have a Discord server, a gaming Discord server that I have monetized, and people who subscribe on my gaming server actually goes through Stripe. So, do I see potentially Stripe actually coming in? I do. I actually feel stronger, hypothetically, if Stripe were to actually outright buy PayPal. Now, what would essentially that look like? Well, when a company gets bought out, a couple things happen. One is that company could very well turn private, kind of like how Musk took Twitter private, or a merger pretty much happens, or what ends up happening is like Stripe could very well do a merger, or if it's not Stripe, let's say a private company is looking to go public, they can acquire a publicly traded company and basically just change the name, change, the style, the tone of it, and basically just swap, the management team obviously goes away at PayPal. So you can have very different style of outcomes that happen. Just because a company becomes a publicly traded company becomes acquired, that doesn't always mean the company's going to go private, kind of like in the sense of Twitter. Okay? Now, what would I do on my public profile of my PayPal position? Automatically sell. That is PayPal, okay? PayPal, I would automatically say, hey, bada bing, bada boom, bada bang, hey, I'm gonna be out of here, okay? I am down, like I said, on my PayPal and my public account here, so I am gonna be taking it. My average is $57.53. I'll show it here in a minute. And I mean, if it hypothetically went to $58, sure, I'm gonna whatever. Okay. If it goes to $70, yeah, hey, that's better for me. Gonna end up taking it. My screensaver just came on. Hold on one second. Oh, please don't freeze. Okay, there we go. I'm gonna end up just taking it. What if PayPal hypothetically gets a buyout? I'm not going to be sticking around. I'm going to be taking it, and I'm just going to walk away. SoFi is a little different, okay? Now, here is the main thing about SoFi, and this is something that you have to consider. I am a firm believer of being prepared, and firstly, I'm not an idealist, I'm a realist. And because I'm a realist, and I also have a military background, did many years in the military, 15 years in the United States Marine Corps, over 10 years in the infantry, Afghan vet, and you're basically just drilled in your brain to always have a plan. And I'm very grateful because with that strategy, it's really perfected a lot of accomplishments in my life, because there's been times where I've had a plan and things have gone to utter just terribleness, and because I had a backup plan already looming, I just basically just executed my backup plan. Now, the thing about SoFi is that the company is growing crazy. Very much bigger than PayPal. You're talking about growth rates of 30% per quarter. You're talking about an annual growth rate up to the right. The market cap is 22, 23 bill right now. PayPal is 40. Hypothetically, oh, and by the way, I will say this. Why am I talking about this? Because right now, these companies, let alone the market, is very beaten down. This is when, believe it or not, acquisitions happen. Not every single acquisition happens when the market is going higher. If anything, more acquisitions happen when the market is actually very much lower and beaten down. SoFi has been beaten down from its all-time high, a 32 and some change. It's nearly half of where it's actually less than half, like 35, 38, I think, percent. Still, though, hypothetically, JPM, let's say if they wanted to get into the fintech, maybe they just wanted to squash SoFi. Could they come in with an offer? Yeah, they could. What if hypothetically, maybe not a banking company wanted to acquire SoFi, but what if hypothetically, if just some investing company wants to acquire, SoFi? What if theoretically something like Berkshire Hathaway said, hey, you want to know what? We just really want to, just buy this company outright. Do they have the capital? They sure do. Of course they do. So you always got to be thinking about what if scenarios, because this is how the market is going to treat you. Everything is a what if situation. So SoFi, basically, Gemini is saying JPM would definitely be there. I honestly feel, hypothetically, if another company were to buy out SoFi, I could see it not being a bank. I could see it very much being something unrelated to the banking sector, and someone on the sidelines with a lot of cash is basically saying, hey, I want to go ahead and get into this disruptor company, or maybe they want to own this disruptor company. Now, what would that basically theoretically look like? Well, AI is saying SoFi would go back to all-time highs. Basically, pretty much, 34 billion is a good premium. I honestly feel the premium would have to be very much higher. Maybe even like near 40 billion. But let's go ahead and use Google Gemini. Just go ahead and say of a stock price, basically pretty much between $28 to $32 for SoFi. So, before I get too far ahead of myself, I do want to say that I did buy some more stock last night, and I actually bought some more SoFi shares. Why did I buy some more SoFi shares last night? Around 17:42 Eastern Standard, that's 5:42 p.m. Because my mom ended up giving me a random phone call last night, and she said, "Hey, Christopher, everyone was talking about today how the stock market is pretty much crashing. When you have your parents give you a phone call because they know you're in the stock market, and you have people that are not in the stock market talking about the stock market crashing, what is that signal?" And I've been talking about this on this channel for a while. When everyone is saying, oh, it's so bad, it's so bad, it's so scary, what typically happens in the stock market? The opposite. When everyone is bearish and everyone is running around with their heads chopped off, a lot of times the opposite happens. When everyone is super, super bullish, like back in December, I was making videos talking about how we're probably going to have a bad January. I didn't know we were going to have a terrible February and a terrible March. But I said we're going to have a bad January. Why? Because in December, every Wall Streeter was saying that this year is going to be awesome. It's going to be bullish. Is it awesome right now? It's really not. So if you are new here, like I said, welcome. I'm doing a public account profile channel challenge on this YouTube channel, looking to take this sum of money here to 6 figures in the course of 17 months. I have a lot of rules for myself. Obviously, if I keep depositing a large sum of money, the account challenge goes down. The account challenge started January 2nd of this year. Already deposited a large sum of money last month, so we went from 18 months to 16 months, but I'm not going to be depositing any more money probably until like April timeframe, because I've been buying a tremendous amount of stock over the last couple months now. And if this market is going to go to Chinatown more, you gotta be disciplined. Okay, it's all about being disciplined. So obviously I've added to my SoFi position on this account. My main profile, I'm holding 1,642 shares. I was buying SoFi back when nobody wanted it, back in February of 2024. Nobody wanted SoFi. Absolutely nobody. So hypothetically, if SoFi were to be bought out, what would it look like? Well, the only thing I don't have up right now is my handy dandy calculator. Hold on. Handy dandy calculator, where are you? Here we go. Okay, so I got 1642 plus 480 shares. And like I said, if PayPal gets acquired, I'm going to sell my position and that's it. Very tiny position in PayPal here. I actually do not own PayPal in my private account. But every other position, and I have been asked this a lot, do I own the same stocks like am I private and also my public account? The answer is yes, minus PayPal, believe it or not. That was actually one I did not open a position on my private. I'm a little happy that I did not. However, yes, PayPal, I'm just going to end up pretty much selling out of. Now, 22 shares of SoFi. Hypothetically, if they get acquired, there's some hard realization that you have to take as a long-term shareholder. Because hypothetically, if it's $28, that's $59K. Total investment capital that I have into SoFi, I believe, is $12,500 on my main, and you're talking 71 on this one. So that's what? That's just under 20 grand. That's win-win chicken dinner. I make money. I have a 10-year long-term vision for SoFi to be a banking giant. Obviously, I would love for a zero to be at the end of this. And I know there's some perma SoFi bulls out there that believe maybe you should add 2 zeros on the end of that, right? Yeah, there are some crazy bulls on social media. I am very much more of a realist, though. But obviously, it's a moneymaker. I've made money. I've done great things in the last 2 years now from being invested in the company. Hypothetically, if 22 were to be bought out at $32 per share of SoFi, now it's about a 8,000, give or take, 1,000 difference. So hypothetically, what would happen if SoFi was acquired? It would be all about whom acquired SoFi, what they're looking to do with that acquisition, and if I'm going to be merged into a different company. Hypothetically, if JPM outright bought SoFi and said, hey, we're just going to do a merge and we're going to merge SoFi into JPM. So what would happen is the 22 shares, if I did not sell, if I held on to those shares, I would then get turned into JPM shares into a equal dollar amount. In that situation, I would honestly, I personally, I would sell out of my SoFi position. Hypothetically, if a non-banking company got into SoFi, let's say maybe a private company acquired SoFi and they want to maintain SoFi on the open market, I would very much be sticking around. That would fall under the line, theoretically, maybe like a hostile takeover. Because just because a hostile takeover happens, it doesn't necessarily mean the management team gets fired per se. You could have like a buyout happen, and you can say, hey, let's keep Anthony Noto around. You're doing great things. So that's one situation there. Obviously, if the company is looking to go private, for whatever reason, which I think that would be utterly stupid, because the company does do good things with them offering new shares. So going private, whatever entity would do that, would be very stupid. But here's my game plan. Or rather, I just told you my game plan. And if a company took SoFi private, I then would, of course, hey, whatever price that SoFi went to, I would cash out. So what would I do with $67,000? I would be honestly opening some new positions. I've talked about Oracle on this YouTube channel. I don't have a position in Oracle, but honestly, at these levels, and not to mention they just did a earnings, which was pretty decent. Oracle could very well return to potentially maybe all-time highs, $300 in the upcoming year. So I would definitely build an Oracle position. I would honestly increase my Adobe position significantly. I'd increase my Adobe position on my private account by a lot. And also, believe it or not, I'd increase my Adobe position on this public account probably by maybe a good so on my private account, if SoFi hypothetically went to $32, 15K, so obviously 7,000, I'd pretty much get a double up on my current position on SoFi right now on this public account. So I would essentially probably increase my Adobe position to maybe $8,000. Very bullish on Adobe. Been talking a lot about Adobe. I would increase, I'd actually have some capital around because I want to see Hood's next earnings. If Hood's next earnings are affected more by crypto, I would be buying thousands of dollars more of Hood. I honestly, believe it or not, would probably be opening a CRM Salesforce position. Yeah, call me a little crazy. So Adobe versus Salesforce. Salesforce is cash king. They're going to be generating more cash, but Adobe is a speculative. I just butchered that word. Oh man, I'm having word salad. Oh, please roast me down below. Adobe is more so focused on a what if scenario that I see really happening with their company. Salesforce is just, they have a lot more. Their rev is ramping up like significantly. And both the companies grew year over year by 12%. So I would actually open a position in Salesforce. And the last thing I'd probably do is maybe, believe it or not, get some exposure to maybe crypto. I don't have any crypto on my accounts, but with crypto being beaten down, and by all means, I'm not anti-crypto, I may want some exposure. So that is my game plan, hypothetically, if one, PayPal gets bought out, and two, if SoFi gets bought out. Do I believe SoFi is going to be bought out? I really don't. Why? Is because I think it's actually a little hard for a company to buy out SoFi and get rid of the management team. You would have to be very brain dead to get rid of SoFi's management team because the team is spot on. So if anything, maybe there's a hostile takeover where a company like buys maybe 20% of SoFi and says, hey, we just want to be here for the long run. We want a board of directors seat, but we don't want to do anything to the company. PayPal, I definitely see an acquisition coming in the near future. Why do I see that? Because it is such a legacy company. It's been around so long. It's a profitable company. And it could very much benefit just anyone, any company out there really acquiring. Now, what do I see happening this week? I think this week is going to be another Debbie Downer. And I think the SPY is probably going to go down to the 200-day. I think the Qs are going to either break or stay at the 200-day. The IWM could very well touch the 200-day. Oil is actually creeping higher and higher. The VIX, in my opinion, could maybe spike near back up. Why do I feel like this? Because people are just now screaming the stock market is going down. We probably need another week worth of pain before it's just screaming too much. Donald Trump realizes, and he knows he's not stupid, it's election year. And I remember last year for Liberation Day, I was buying this entire way down and the entire way up. If I need to deposit more money into my public account and buy more stock, I will. But I honestly feel that the next week, maybe week and a half, it's going to be more pain. And I think maybe we're probably going to bottom either at the end of this month or maybe into early April. And then we are really going to have a hard, it's going to be fast, hard rally to the upside. So, longer video for today. If you enjoyed my content, please smash the like button. Love you guys so much, and this YouTube channel is growing nicely. Let's remember why you got into your positions. And your positions that you get into, remember that this is short-term pain, okay? Just zoom out. SoFi will return to its all-time highs. The company's going to continue to grow. AMD, the party's going to start soon. I honestly believe that Palantir is going to continue to put up crazy growth rates for the time being. Hood will recover once Bitcoin gets its bum going. Meta is questionable, and Adobe, I gotta actually move Adobe up on my list here. Yeah, Adobe is becoming my very much bread and butter. And maybe I get lucky and get a buyout with PayPal. All right, everyone, take it easy. I'll see you on Monday with a new video. Later.